The Email by John Cuthbert. What does it mean when an unusual email that you thought was a scam turns out to be real? I can tell you because it's happened to me. My peaceful retirement has been turned upside down. My wife doesn't trust me anymore and my children have stopped visiting. My cosy, predictable life has become a tangle of accusations. It started 2 weeks ago with an email supposedly from a local solicitor. Dear Mr. Robinson, on behalf of our client, we're trying to locate one particular Peter Robinson. The gentleman in question used to live in Ilkley in the 1970s and attended Leeds Grammar School. If you are that person, please get in touch. The email contained a contact phone number and was apparently from a Ms. Yasmin Raymond, representing a legal firm, SMR Solicitors of Sunbridge Road, Bradford. I was convinced the email was a scam. Did they want me to give up personal details so they could buy something using my data? Did they want to threaten me with legal proceedings unless I immediately gave them some money? I was unsure, so I showed it to my wife, Karen. It's a scam, she says. Ignore it. And she carried on with her reading. I rang my son and daughter for a second and third opinion. It's a scam, said David. Catherine wasn't quite so certain. Have you checked to see if these solicitors really exist? She asked. And do they have a Ms. Raymond on their staff? It'll be easy to check. Modern firms always have a website. There might even be a picture of her. Just Google it. I checked. And there she was. Ms. Yasmin Raymond, qualified in 2018, specialising in family law and had worked for the company for some 7 years. I was relieved that it wasn't a scam, but was intrigued to find out more. You see, I did live in Ilkley in the 1970s, and I did go to Leeds Grammar School. The Peter Robinson she was looking for was probably me. But who would want to find me from the people I knew in the 1970s? If it's from a solicitor, it'll be about money, said my wife. You'll either owe someone or someone wants to give you something. Let's be honest, who would want to give you money from your school days? I bet it's someone chasing a debt. Ring her up, she said. Don't put anything down on paper until you know what's going on, and don't give her any personal details. So on Tuesday morning, I rang her. I was greeted by a receptionist who stated the name of the firm of solicitors, so I was reassured. I was put through to Ms. Yasmin Raymond, who was friendly and repeated her intention to locate one particular Peter Robinson, and would I mind if she asked me some questions. I was cautious at this point. Everything about the phone call sounded real. The phone number really was for that legal practice. I checked on Google. So I'd no reason to be wary. I just was. The solicitor asked me where I was living in the early 70s and where I'd gone to school. I reassured her that the answers were the same as the ones in her email, Ilkley and Leeds Grammar School. Do you remember a family in the early 1970s? There were 2 girls and a boy and they lived in Bradford. But that could be anyone, I replied. You'll have to give me more to go on. The older girl was called Sophie Anderson, said Ms. Raymond. I paused. Sophie was the name of an ex-girlfriend. I went out with her in the early 1970s. Why on earth am I being asked about Sophie? Yes, I said. I think I can remember her. And can you remember the names of her sister and brother? She asked. Why do you want to know their names? I said. So I can be reassured you really are the Peter Robinson my client is looking for, said Ms. Raymond. Oh, and I paused. As far as I can remember, her sister was called Judy and her brother was called Chris or Christopher. Was one of the sisters your girlfriend? If so, which one? I went out with Sophie. And in which year did you two go out together? Asked Miss Raymond. I think it must have been 1973, as far as I can remember, I told the solicitor. Why? Is Sophie looking for me? I'm sorry, Mr. Robinson, I can't give you the name of my client at the moment. I'll call them this afternoon and tell them about the conversation we've just had. If my client is satisfied with your responses, they'll contact you. Can I have an address and a telephone number? No. You've already got my email. Tell them to use that. The solicitor checked my email address and said, That's fine, Mr. Robinson. I've just one final question. Can you recall anything special about the father's garage at Sophie's house? This must be the deal breaker. Sophie's father was very protective of his special project. He wouldn't usually let anyone in the garage to see it. I'd been going out with Sophie for at least 6 months before I was allowed in. If I get this right, it must prove I'm the real Peter Robinson. It was an old car, in bits. It was a Jaguar XK something, a 120 or a 140. I can't remember. Thank you, Mr. Robinson. I'm sure my client will be in touch. I hung up and relayed the conversation to my wife. She made tasteless jokes about old flames and even threatened to tell the children. I begged her not to. Not until I'd found out exactly what was going on. Perhaps she wants to go out with you again, see if it's any better than the first time. Oh, ha, ha, I replied. Perhaps she wants to give you that old Jag. It must be worth a fortune if her dad ever finished putting it together. Now that would be a good surprise, I said, and cheered up a bit. It took 3 days for the email to arrive, and it wasn't from Sophie, it was from Judy. Or Judith, as she now calls herself. It was a sad tale. She explained that Sophie had died recently after a long illness, and Judith had the sorry task of clearing out all the old paperwork from Sophie's house. Whilst going through her sister's desk, she'd come across a document with my name on it and would have liked to meet up. I emailed straight back and asked Judith what was on the document. A day later, another email appeared in my inbox. Judith was reluctant to answer my question via the internet. It's the sort of thing that should be done face to face, she said. She offered some dates and times she'd be free to meet. So here I am, 5 days later, sitting in the diner at Salts Mill, waiting for Judith to appear. I decided to come alone. After a short wait, a woman walked over to my table. Hello, Peter, said the woman. You probably don't remember me. I'm Judy. I shook hands with her and ordered 2 coffees. Polite conversation was attempted for a couple of minutes, but I couldn't contain myself anymore. So tell me, Judith, why am I here? What did you find in Sophie's paperwork? She reached into a bag and took out a piece of paper, unfolded it and put it on the table in front of me. It's a copy, she said. I put on my glasses and examined the piece of paper. It was a birth certificate. The name of the child was Heather Anderson, born on the 3rd of August, 1975. The mother's name was Sophie Anderson, and the father's name was Peter Robinson. Me. Where's Heather? I asked. Does she know about this? Judith's face fell. Sadly, Heather died shortly after she was born. Sophie was broken by it. She stayed with our parents for years before she restarted her life. I sat, staring at the document, not sure if I could speak. I looked at Judith. I didn't know what to say. I looked down again at the document. Even though it was a copy, it looked genuine enough. But then I noticed the date of birth. I attempted a quick calculation. If Heather was born in August 1975, then conception must have been 9 months earlier. November 1974. But I wasn't going out with Sophie in November 1974. I'd gone off to university in October and had met somebody new. Karen, a girlfriend who eventually became my wife. I couldn't be the father. I've never been unfaithful to my wife. But how can I prove I didn't do something in 1974?